Hello, everyone. This is Still Rose's podcast. This podcast was created for women by women to elevate women's voices. Tuesday, by the time you all hear this. I hope everyone is enjoying July. I don't know if you all feel the same way, but I feel like I'm blinking and the summer is flying. Last summer didn't feel that way. And for those of you who've been with me for a while, you know the situation I was in last summer, but I'm going to just catch everyone up. So last summer, we decided, well, I guess it was really a me decision to test it out. But last summer, I was pretty determined to just have my kids home and while I worked from home. And I thought if I coordinated it just so and, had enough half days so that they would kind of hang out while I worked in the morning and then I would be with them in the afternoons. I thought I could just kind of navigate it so that it would be totally fine. If you're a mom and you're hearing me, you're probably laughing already at the naivete that I had at thinking that I could somehow manage working from home while all three of my kids are home. My kids are incredibly active, constantly wanting to do something, always kind of jumping around, playing, that's just how they are, which I love it. I really, really love it. But last summer, it was a massive challenge for me. And it became so stressful. By August, I was having a nervous breakdown. There's really no other way to say that besides it is what it was. The harsh reality was I was basically having a nervous breakdown. Now, there was a combination of factors that contributed to that. You can actually hear it in some of my episodes from last summer. If you check out a mini-sode from last summer, you can hear me cracking. My sanity was going right out the window. So I got to August and it was just a disaster. And I called my cousin, who was the former co-host of the podcast, and was like, remind me next year when I start being cheap and not wanting to pay for summer camp. Remind me of this moment that I'm crying basically every day and just having a nervous breakdown from stress, that not to do this again and to just put them in summer camp and just bite the bullet and call it a day. So this summer, that's what I did. Now, if you are looking for a little bit more detail around what exactly was so complex last summer, yes, working from home does, it has its ups and downs. But my job, a lot of it entails meetings with clients virtually, which is great, because then I can juggle quite a bit more because of that. But it requires quiet. And my clients are looking to me to present things to them, to talk them through things, to guide them. And it's very hard to do that when you have children running around. My kids took full advantage of the fact that I was on camera and I really couldn't scream or yell at them. And I had to basically pretend like they weren't there. And my husband would come home from work and the kitchen would be a disaster. There would be snacks everywhere, there's things everywhere. And I was on phone calls and I couldn't even get up to do anything about it. So nevertheless, anyway, that's really what it was, is I had deadlines for work. I had things I needed to get done. And it just became a constant battle of just me trying to get through the day. And then it was affecting my marriage. It was affecting me personally. It affected me at my job, which I wasn't happy at already. So this just snowballed into making it all that much worse. So again, put that in the past. It was an experience. Won't do it again. So this summer I committed and was like, camp. So in our town, you pay a registration fee, and then every day you pay for whatever the excursion is for the day. So you can opt out if it's too expensive. Last week, I opted out of 2 of the days. And boy, let me tell you the reminder that it was that I need to just budget to make sure that I can make this a reality. Now, that brings me to a point that I didn't realize I was going to make just now, but I am going to make it for you. I have quite frequently recently opted for my sanity over saving, to be perfectly honest with you. I used to go the other route, be like, I'll just save money. I'll do it myself. Now, that's a luxury that I'm able to afford myself after all of this time and these many, many years of struggling. I am able to make a choice here. And I always choose my sanity. That's like a personal gift to myself that I'm able to do this. Now, on a smaller, less expensive scale, yes, I have the great fortune to be able to do this right now. And as long as my husband doesn't decide he wants to retire early, I'll have the great fortune to do this for a little while longer. But for those of you who are listening to this and saying oh, I can't afford that. I can't afford to just put my sanity first or me first. It's all on me. It's all on my shoulders. I hear you and I see you, and my vibrational energy feels you in my soul because I've been there too. So the mistakes that I made when I couldn't afford to put them in camp, the mistakes that I made when I didn't choose my sanity, was not asking for help and not raising my hand and saying, you know what, I actually could use a sitter and I am going to leave the house. Never did it. I just couldn't do it. I could not bring myself to do it. And so I do really implore all of you, if you are finding yourself where you are burned out and you are getting depressed and your anxiety is through the roof and you're snapping at your children, you're snapping at your husband, don't go farther down that path. It's going to feel very odd and awkward, but if you choose your sanity, it benefits everybody. Now, I've been actually empowered through this podcast, now that I'm saying it out loud, but empowered through all of you, and empowered because personally, I always like to lead by example. And there's a lot of times where I say things on here, and then when I stop recording and I throw the episode out into the world for other women to hear, in my mind, I'm like, Jenny, you just said all this advice to these women. You just drew a line in the sand and said, this is the boundary we're setting here, but then you're not following through on your end. How could you do that? That's being a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite. Like, I'm gonna show up and do what I'm say I'm gonna be doing. So to further that point, today, literally today, this was a free thing. I work all day. I have to run back and forth picking up the kids from camp and everything. I had work, in the evening, so I hop back on. And my business ethics are there. And I've said it before, love my new job, love my agency that I'm with. I love my clients. Like, I would really I'd go the distance. I really would. But again, I have my moments where I'm stressed out, and I was upset over the weekend because, mom stuff, chores, this, that, and the next thing. And everyone's out having fun in the pool. And I'm like, damn. And I said to my husband, I'm like, I went on a bit of a rant, and I'm like, every summer we have this pool open and we put all this money into the pool in our backyard, and I get into the pool like less than 10 times, 100% less than 10 times do I get into the pool. And I was like, and he was like, what are you talking about? Just get in. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. And I was like yelling at him from the grill, which is actually even funnier. But I'm yelling at him and I'm going, hey, you all are in the pool and you all are enjoying your time. But if I go in there and enjoy my time, who's eating? What are you going to eat? You're all going to get out of the pool and you're going to be starving. Someone need to think about that. Someone had to be responsible to say, like, oh, let me make sure everyone has food, even if it means I'm sacrificing time for myself to relax and have fun. So I suppose that it made an impact on him, because today I got in the pool for a few minutes, then I had to get out, to get dinner going and whatever, usual stuff. But I did. I made the choice and I pushed myself, even though it felt off to do it, to get in the pool just for 10 minutes, just played around a little bit, got cooled off, whatever. And then after, I didn't change. Everyone else went to go take showers and change and put pajamas on. We're pretty strict still during the summer. We keep our schedule pretty strict. And so I was still in my bathing suit, and my husband said to me, he's like, just go back in the pool. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, just go back in the pool. He's like, the kids are settled. Everybody ate dinner. Like, go back in the pool. And I kind of just stared at him for a second. I was like, should I go back in the pool? And he was like, you should go back in the pool. He was like, you deserve to be out there relaxing too. Ladies and gents, if anyone's listening, I want everyone's be included here. When I tell you, we are not romantic people in this house. Like, I'm just not a romantic person. He's not really romantic. Like, together, we're not a combined romantic couple. But in that moment, I felt like that was such a romantic gesture. And some of you are probably like rolling your eyes, like, that's not romance. Like, that's just, he should be, they should be letting you do anything. You do what you want. Yes, I get it. I hear you girls. But my point is that he pushed me to make myself a priority. And that to me speaks volumes over bouquets of roses and dinners out and, the sunshine and rainbows and friggin' the big show is what I usually call it. I can do without the big show because this is so much more meaningful to me. So I tried to sneak out the back door. My son followed me and he squirted me with a water gun for a few minutes while I was in the pool doing laps. And then my husband came out, kicked him back in the house. He said, nope, leave mommy alone. She's taking time to herself. And I just did laps back and forth. I was only in for like 10 minutes. Like, I really I wasn't in there like relaxing and hanging out, but to be able to take that moment at the end of the day and just do some form of physical activity was a huge deal. And I have to Google it to see like if this is legitimate, because I'm going to start doing it every day. My back pain has been excruciating lately. I have a herniated disc in my lower back, and I am always very mindful of it, and I do things to take care of it because I don't want to end up disabled in any way. That pool, the laps in the pool, I don't know if it was just the movement. I don't know what it was. I have to Google it again, like I said, but it was phenomenal. Like, the impact on my back was phenomenal, and actually feels so much better now. So this might be a regular thing, which my kids will be so upset, but what are you going to do? So key takeaway, if you can do it, it doesn't have to be something expensive. It doesn't have to be something a lot of money. I'm sure there is somebody out there who is willing to help you. And if you are in a dire situation where you really don't have help and there is not a moment where you're going to be able to separate yourself from your kids or your situation. You don't have to physically separate yourself from a situation. What I would implore you to do is to take 10 minutes to do something for yourself. So it might be at the end of the day when the kids are all in bed and you're alone, and instead of folding laundry or instead of doing anything, I know you're probably just beat up and exhausted and you just want to crash and veg out on social media and TV. Take a few minutes, light a candle if you're not allergic. I happen to be allergic, so we don't have candles in our house, but light a candle, do something just to put you in a space of, when I look at this object, this is a me moment, and I'm just taking a minute to be with me and myself and to honor yourself. Once you start building on that, the effect it's going to have is going to be tremendous. I also want to take a minute to acknowledge Kathy Heller. You guys have heard me talk about her a few times on this podcast, and by a few, I mean many, because I kind of accredit pretty much everything good that has happened in my life. I kind of have to give her credit. Right now, she's running her Abundant Ever After. I don't know if it's pre-sale or sales, but she has courses running consistently. Abundant Ever After was the one that I had signed up for. It is expensive, but the amount you get back, the return on that investment, is like 100 times over what you would spend. I was very grateful that they actually have payment plans. You can set up a payment plan. That's what I did. I didn't have the money up front. No friggin' way did I have the money up front when I paid for this thing. But I just did a monthly payment plan and I sucked it up for a whole year and I paid it and I was all set. I just encourage you guys. I've talked a lot about the impact that working with Kathy had on my life, and I really want to see all of you succeed. So I'll leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed the little mini-sode. In the description of this episode, please use I think it's text or something, or reach out. There's a link there. You can send me feedback directly. Somebody recently sent me feedback about an interview that I did earlier, or that I aired earlier in the year, and I actually wanted to take a minute to call this person out because I am so grateful for the feedback that you provided. So there is no name attached to it. The only thing that I'm able to see is location. So Minnesota. I greatly appreciate you because you came in with very good constructive criticism. The episode that I had received feedback on was pertaining to, the woman, she's a widow. The woman was a widow and she lost her husband to suicide. I have no point of reference on this kind of situation and this kind of feeling. And the person who messaged, she maybe was a little bit frustrated with how I tried to relate some of what the guest was saying to other situations. And she basically gave me some guidance and just said that, if you're hearing this kinds of stories, let the person go, let them talk, don't interrupt, just let them tell their story. And I had thought that I had, but you know what? If it came off not like that, I want to know that. I'd like to address that to make sure that I'm doing better for you guys and that I am letting the guests really speak and put themselves out there. So the original episode was Reshma Carney on finding light after losing a partner to suicide. It aired on April 20th, 2025. I can include a link in this episode so you guys can take a look if you want to. But I do really greatly appreciate Minnesota. Thank you so much for your feedback. Honestly, I really appreciate it. Minneapolis, Minnesota. So thank you so much again for listening, everybody. Please, please, please feel free to reach out directly. The messages come right to me, but I can't respond to you. So I just want to say thank you so much for your feedback again. I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care.